Vijnano Kapishvara Kavishvarao Udbhavasthiti Samhara Karinim Kleshaharinim Sarvashreyaskarim Sitam Natoham Ramavallabham Yanmaya Vashavarti Vishwamakhilam Brahmadi Devasura Yat sattvatamrishaiva bhati sakalam rajjau yatha brahmaha yat padaplavamekam hi bhavam bodhe stitirshaavatam vandeham tamashesha karanaparam ramakhyamisham harim Nana Purana Nigamagama Sammatam Yad Ramayane Nigaditam Kvachitan Yatopi Swanta Sukhaya Tulasi Raghunatha Gatha Bhashani Bandhamati Manjula Matanoti Bhashani Bandhamati Manjula Matanoti जो सुमिरत सिद्धि होई गणनायक करिबर बदना करौ अनुग्रह सोई बुद्धि राशि शुभ गुण सदना मूक होई बाचाल पंगु चढ़ाई गिरि पर गहना जासु कृपा सुदयाल द्रवौ सकल कलिमल दहना नील सरोरुह श्याम तरुण अरुण बारिज नयना करउ सुमम उरधाम सदा क्षीर सागर सयना कुंद इंदु समदेह उमार मन करुणा अयना जाहि दीन परनेहा करौ कृपा मर्दन मयना बंदौ गुरुपद कंज कृपा सिंधु नर रूप हरि महामोहतम पुंज जासु बचन रवि करन करा जासु बचन रवि करन करा Harihi Om. Okay, a very warm welcome to everyone again for our third night of satsang on life lessons from Sri Ram Charitamanas. We saw over the last couple days that Bhagavan Rama's balance of mind was sahaj. It was natural. It was his very swarupa to be in samatvam. And where there is balance of mind, then the classically difficult situations which come to us in life, we won't be repulsed by them. We won't revolt against them. We won't run away from them, argue with them. Instead, what we will do is be able to peer into it and see if there is some duty I have to do here, if there is some goodness here that I can extract for myself and the benefit of the world by my attitude and understanding. And we saw so many different examples. That is what balance of mind brings to us. It is such a significant power that we have to make life's problems yield to us and to make life's pitfalls and dangers also be avoided by us, this balance of mind. It is the thing for us to develop over this lifetime. Now, we have to develop it, but for Bhagavan Sri Ram, it was natural. It was, he wasn't doing it like any practice, right? So we saw Tulsidas Ji giving us insights on how he actually sees this world of pairs of opposites. And he's showing us, peering into it with us, saying, see the good thing here? See the good thing here? Saints and sages must do that. We all need to learn from that. And the conclusion, what is the conclusion of all of that study? Is that really speaking, everything in this world is neutral. They all have their own good and bad, but when you look at it, right? How does that translate, everything in this world is neutral? How does it translate into one's thinking? Something like this. I'm not asking for problems to come in my life, but for those that do come, I am also not asking for any one of them to leave my life. I will never ask for them to leave my life because I could not do without them. Means to say, my sojourn in this samsara, my growth, my evolution in spirituality will never happen without that specific sorrow that I'm getting. In there is a blessing that I really want, I really need, that is supposed to give joy to me in my life and those around me. So I won't cast out such a blessing. I need that. Such kind of thinking is called balanced vision. And how to practice that? So one way to practice it is to enshrine in our own mind, in our memory, the ideal. So that is what we saw yesterday, how Bhagavan Sri Ram responded. And we have wonderful shlokas for that. Prasannatam ya nagata vishekataha tatha namamle vanavasa dukkhataha. That Bhagavan Sri Ram, whose prasannata, his pleasant nature, his contentedness, his joy, it didn't change when he found out he was getting a good circumstance, like the Abhishek for the coronation, or when he had Banavas. So you enshrine that beautiful smile in your mind and let that bless me and my life. Or you can enshrine in your mind the other way. What exactly did Sri Ram say? Take that now and transpose it into your life. Practice that. So take, for example, the dreaded situation of having to get up early. We all know getting up early is good for us, right? But it doesn't feel like that. Getting up early is like going to Banavas. We want to stay in the comfortable kingdom of our king mattress. But they had to get up and face the cold tile and the cold shower and all that thing, right? So we transpose the idea. How? Just like how Bhagavan Sri Ram thought about it. Means I would be number one rank among fools, if I don't get up and get out of this bed. Among what kind of fools? So you can think, Bhagavan said, those fools who choose the castor oil plant over the kamadhenu, who chose something very ordinary over something heavenly. Those kind of people. Now, we don't necessarily meet those people, but I was thinking, what would be a kind of foolish thing like that? If someone earns $1 billion inheritance, now suddenly they have $1 billion. And where do they choose to go spend it? They go to the dollar store and they buy everything in the dollar store with their $1 billion, and every dollar store, and they fill their house with those kind of things. That is an utter waste of money, isn't it? You could have given something to our Chinmaya University and helped posterity forever. That is such great punya karma, right? You could have given just a little bit and got such great punya karma, and you wasted it at the dollar store on a peeler that doesn't, the blade is backwards. Right? So such a person is a fool. But I will be number one among all such fools if I don't get up. Why? Because look at all the benefits that are hidden in this thing of getting up. One, when you get up early, you will get to meet the saints and sages, because you will open some text or read some line from Gurudev, open the Gita 365 app or the new Upanishad app, you'll meet the saints and sages. Just like Bhagavan was saying, I'll get up and I'll go into the forest, but I'll meet the saints and sages. Then there'll be health benefits to me. And when I'm healthy, everyone around me gets benefits. So like that, looking to the benefit of the world, seeing the hidden blessings, it means to say that this thing is the thing I must do. And you look at it so well that I see from all sides, there's only benefit. Of course, there is going to be the other side of it, the pain of having to get up, right? But that is okay because the world has pairs of opposites and you can't remove them. Some things appear like mango, thin skin and all juice, and some things appear like jackfruit. Painful in the beginning, but something very special inside. I thought of another example, today only. Sometimes in India, they pack a beautiful murti. Have you seen how they pack it? They pack it in old paper and used up string and repurposed wood. Have you seen? And that's how they ship it. So now packed in something so, you can say packed in garbage is a wonderful murti. Packed in something repulsive is such a great blessing. So some things of the world are like that. But when you go to the dollar store, it's the opposite. They take a peeler that doesn't work and they package it so nicely, right? So the world has two things. Staying in the bed is just like the dollars. It's packaged so nicely, but it doesn't give you anything. And getting up, well, on the surface, that is really not nice. But inside it has, so they're neutral. They both have good and bad. So looking at the world like that, you transpose those ideas and you also develop a balanced mind. Okay, now, that is practicing the ideal, right? But why do we have to practice? Why don't we just have it natural like Sriram? The reason is, the rishis point out, is every one of us are born with some obstacles in our mind, predisposed to be off balance. All of us. Those obstacles are given wonderful Sanskrit words. And because of those obstacles, our natural vision in the world is not balanced, it is biased. And we talked about that on both days. Now, a little bit more, those words in Sanskrit, those obstacles to balance, which we have to go on practicing removing in order to have a balanced vision, are called Shoka and Moha. These are the two Sanskrit words that are, if someone were to ask, what is the cause of me not being able to see the good and bad, the dangers and good things, me not being able to follow through in my dharma, what is really the problem in my mind? It is these two Sanskrit words, Shoka and Moha, right? Now, I'll give you the simple definition for these words. Shoka means sorrow. And by sorrow, we mean that whole variety of agitations in the mind, including pain, including anxiety over the future, including suffering, including despair, including dejection like Arjuna felt, that whole gamut. In one word, we summarize that and called Shoka, right? The other word, Moha, means delusion. But what is delusion? That word we don't even use very often in English, right? What is delusion? Delusion is seeing things upside down. Seeing friend as foe and foe as friend. Specifically, in the case that we have been talking about, right? Delusion means thinking, here in this situation, I can get no benefit. I will only be benefited, happy, secure, better off in that situation over there. So I have to run over there. I can't stay here. Happiness is just around the corner. If I do this, get that, or run away from this thing, then everything will be better. That is called delusion. That is called moha, right? As an example of moha. So I can go on talking about it, but I think you yourself will see moha and shoka, delusion and sorrow in action very easily, right? Hear the story of a man who is having a really bad day. Now, look at this story and tell me if you can see where is the shoka and where is the Moha, right? Having a bad day, gets up. He is late to get up Monday morning. That day, he had a very important pitch to give at work to all of those top bosses and all of that. He is pitching, and one of his competitive co-workers are also pitching, right? And he's late. Now he's fully anxious, worried, consumed. I'm late. And he's rushing and doing everything in the house. I don't have time to eat. I don't have time to pack anything. I don't have time to say anything to anyone. And then he's looking for his keys. That night, his daughter took the car out to go and get something and came back. And she used her dad's car and she left the keys in her room. Now he's rushing. He can't find his keys. And so in such frustration, he shouted at everybody in the house. And finally, he got his keys. Then he's heading to work, right? Just before leaving, his spouse yells, don't forget you have to pick up, the other one from school today on your way home. He's staying late. So he says, okay. He hops in the car, right? Then he's driving. He looks down, he realizes that daughter, of course, didn't fill the gas. Now he's thinking, so whole time now while driving, he's not thinking about driving. He's thinking about, can I make it? What will I say when I get there? What will be the consequences? Who will think what of me? That's what he's running through his mind, right? Then he says, and I gotta get gas. In all that thought, he missed the exit where he had to get gas. So now he's really pushing it to the edge. He shows up at work on pretty much empty. He hops in the car. He hops into the office. He does his presentation, right? After the presentation, now he still has a whole day of work to put forth. What is he thinking about? I wonder what they'll say. That other one did such a good presentation. I can't believe I was late. Look at what this son and daughter are doing. This, that. Like that, he wasn't productive. Wasn't productive. Then at the end of the day, the boss came and said, did you finish that work? He said, no. So you have to stay late now. Then after staying late, right? He's tired and frustrated. He hops in the car. He's thinking about how he should have done his work and how he didn't. He instead spent all the time worrying about his presentation that was in the past. Doing that on the way home, again, he forgot to fill gas. So he's now stuck on the side of the road. That time he remembers he shouldn't have worked late because he was supposed to pick up that boy from school now. And like that, he had a bad day. Now, look at this kind of very ordinary samsaric day for us, right? And tell me, where is the Shoka and Moha playing havoc with his life? The Shoka is that anxiety, fear, worry that takes over our mind. The Moha, if you look deeply, is in the worry that unless this happens perfectly, I won't be happy, right? And those two steal away his mind. When we say practice balance in life, right, it just boils down essentially to choice. It is really at the core issue of sadhana is choice. What to do, what not to do. What attitude to have, what attitude not to have. How to follow through with that right attitude, or how to avoid that other thing. Choice. But we can't even make a choice in life because Shoka and Moha steals away that opportunity. How this steals it away? Anxiety over the future. Worry and guilt over the past, right? Clouds our mind, gives us frustration. And then another moha comes in. What is the moha? Because of all that anxiety, I don't even notice that in every moment of life, I have a choice how to respond. Tell me, how many moments in that man's life did he have a chance to stop, think, and make a better day? All day he had that chance. At any moment he could have stopped. But delusion makes us feel, no, I can't treat the daughter well. I can't do my best and leave the rest. I can't do those things. I have to worry because unless I get this thing in the future, I won't be happy. You see? So the first thing, before anything we talk about sadhana and all that, first basic point everyone has to appreciate is that, really speaking, every single moment, life gives us a choice. How we want to, where we want to put the quality, quantity, and direction of our thoughts, what our attitude should be, what we should do. Like right now, for instance, you could send your mind and think about all your duties and what this person said, or you can bring your mind right here to satsang. Choice, right? This is the basic thing upon which all sadhana rests. And the evil in our mind, the disease that we're all born with, that keeps us in samsara, is Shoka and Moha. Okay. So right away, we have a life lesson. What is that? The only real choice we have is how to deal with the present moment, not the future, not the past. And if my mind wants to run into the past or the future, well, that is the disease I was born with playing itself out, and that's only going to keep me making mistakes and getting more sorrow. If I want to start my evolution, I have to choose to start. It is in my hands, right? Okay. Now, with that much introduction, we think how we can choose in every moment to practice this great balance of mind demonstrated by Sri Ram. We are going to see in Ramayana now the story of such a man. Well, not a man, it is a Vanara. This is translated simply as monkey, who's living just like that man, right? But he has done some things in his life to invoke the presence of God to come and help him. So this is now very practical for us. We have done so much good deeds on this side, so much punya, or that find ourselves in satsang, yet we are still struggling to practice these qualities. So the example of Sugriva is our example. How can we invoke more spirituality in our life? Call the Lord to come and stand behind us and fight with us, because we are suffering from great Shoka and Moha, right? Now, let us think a little bit. Many of you will be knowing the story. If you don't know the story, we'll see it today, right? But what is it that this Sugriv has done to bring the Lord towards him? Take a moment and think. What did he do? Because there's a pair of brothers, for those who don't know. One is Bali and one is Sugriv, right? And in this story, Bhagavan Sri Ram has to choose a side. And he goes himself and meets Sugriv. So the Lord came to him. That is like we are doing our daily duties, and the Lord comes and finds you and gives you inspiration. He didn't have to look. The Lord came to him, is it not? So what did Sugriv do to invoke that kind of auspiciousness in his life? Now see, I will tell in advance, and then of course we'll study the story. First thing he does is he makes friendship with the Lord, becomes his friend, right? So, and that was a great turning point in his life. But someone might say, first the Lord had to come in front of him in order for him to make friendship, isn't it? So how the Lord came in the first place? Well, the Lord came because Hanumanji brought him. Hanumanji was doing service to Sugriva, and then on that bottom of that mountain, he sends, the story, he sends Hanumanji. Hanumanji, who's that coming there? Maybe Bali has sent them to take me out, assassins. You tell me from there, and if they're bad, I'll run away, he says, right? So he sends Hanumanji. Hanumanji sees this is the Lord and brings the Lord to Sugriv. So that means to say, he had done something to have the help of Hanumanji. What did he do for that? Well, really, that is, if you keep studying the story further and further back, Bhagavan Surya Bhagavan had sent Hanumanji to help Sugriv. That is called grace of the Lord. Like, sometimes we get grace marks. You ever got grace marks from school? The teacher just gave you a few points. Why? Just because she's feeling compassionate and you pass. It's called grace. When we get grace marks, Guruji nicely said, that is kind of a disgrace, But when we get grace from the Lord, it is not a disgrace. It is a special badge of honor. So for no reason, the Lord blesses everyone. So he blessed Sugriva with Hanumanji. Then Hanumanji served as a beacon, like a guru, and brought the Lord to Sugriv, right? So like this, you can go back and study, right? Why? If you study it in the final and you have to summarize, what can we do to find ourselves with the Lord in front of us? It's two things, right? One that we just talked about, we have to get the grace of the Lord, and that comes to everyone. It's causeless. The other thing we have to do is we have to be on the side of Dharma. Be on the side of Dharma means what? Means to yatha shakti, to the degree that you can right now. Of course, we have fear and anxiety and moha and all those kind of things. But to the degree that you can right now, everybody must do their, say, punya karma, or you say, do something selfless. After a long time of doing selfless actions, right? The results of those merits bring the Lord to us. In other words, where does spirituality start? Really basic fundamentals. It starts with selfless action. What we sometimes call as seva. That's where it starts. And if you study the life, we will in a moment, of Sugriva, you'll see, though he was chicken-hearted, though he ran away from so many problems, he couldn't face up, he couldn't do his duty, he still, at the same time, always found himself on the side of selflessness. He did. That plus the grace of the Lord is all it takes. That is where evolution begins, right? So that's another life lesson. How we can be like Sugriv and not Bali, simply start with selflessness, right? Okay. Spirituality begins by relinquishing selfishness. That is the idea. Through seva, along with the grace of the Lord, now we are in the position of Sugriv. Okay. Now let us start this wonderful prasanga. We'll see how far we can get. This is in Kishkinda Kanda. Rama meets Hanumanji, as I just mentioned. Hanumanji takes Rama and Lakshmana up Rishyamukh Parvat to meet Sugriva. There, Sugriva and Bhagavan Sri Ram make a pact of friendship, right? Then Sugriva inquired, what is Bhagavan Sri Ram doing in the forest? And upon hearing Bhagavan Sri Ram's plight, Sugriva cried. Just telling you his nature. He cried. Then he also brought a cloth that had Sita Mata had dropped when she was being kidnapped. He brought that cloth. And then when Bhagavan Sri Ram saw that cloth, he manifested, he showed his sadness. Means what? That is the Lord of the universe, Ishvara, showing that he is sad at the plight of the jiva. That jiva lost in samsara, the Bhagavan Ram feels for that jiva. Seeing that now, Sugriva put forth, showed his friendship. He said, my dear Rama, Prabhu, drop all your sorrow. Tatahu socha, and have fortitude in your mind. He's telling the Lord, but still it's a wonderful sentiment. Oh, my friend, mana anahu dhira. Don't feel sad, don't feel down. In all ways, we will do your seva. And we will certainly find Sita Mata. That's how a friend talks, when someone is down. I got your back. It's going to be okay. So he's talking like this to Sri Ram. Then from there we'll pick up. So if you have a copy of that Ramcharitmanas saved, this is on page 734 in Kishkinda Kand. If you don't have that, you have your own Ramayana, then you turn to Kishkinda Kand and see Doha 5. Doha 5. And we'll chant from there. We'll chant one Doha and then we'll see. Maybe we can also post that link again if it's not already there. For anyone who's joining us for the first time. Okay. Sakha bachana suni harashe kripa sindhu balasiva jai jai Shri Rama karana kavana bahasubana mohi kahu sugriva jai Shri Rama. Bhagavan Ram, what does he say? He says, Sakha, oh my friend. Oh, Sakha bachana suni hareshe kripa sindhu. On hearing the words of his friend, Bhagavan Sri Ram was happy. Karana kavana bahasu bana mohi kahu sugriv. He says, immediately, Bhagavan, see what happens. Bhagavan Sri Ram puts his sorrow out of his mind, and in half a doha, right after Sugriva says that, he puts his sorrow out of his mind in just half a doha and asks right away, immediately, like on the spot, the way Tulsidashi demonstrates it. Tell me, oh Sugriva, why do you stay here in Rishimukh Parvat in this part of the forest? So he's saying, what is your situation? Oh friend, putting himself aside. Then Sugriva tells, I'm going to chant this now after the Doha, Doha 5. Let me also put it over here. Shri Rama Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Rama. Shri Rama Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Rama. Nath Bali Aru Maidvau Bai Priti Rahi Kachu Parani na Jai Maya Sutta Mayavi Tehi Nahu Avaso Prabhu Hamare Gau Ardharati Pura Dwara Pukara Paliripu Bala Saha Ina Para Dhava Bali Deki Sobhaga Mai Punigaya Ubandhu Sangat Laga Giribara Guha Paitha So Jai Taba Bali Mohi Kaha Bujai Parike Sumohi Eka Pakhavara Nahi Avao Taba Jane Sumara Masa Divasataha Rahe Ukharari Nisi Taha Bhagi Bali Hate Simohi Mari Ai Sila De Itaha Chale Uparai Mantrinha Mupura Dekha Binusai Din He Umohi Rajabariai Bali Tahi Mari Griha Ava Dekha Mohi Jiya Veda Bhadava Rupu Samamohi Mare se ati bhari. Hari leen he se. Hari leen he se sar. Basu arunari. Take bhaya raghu Bira kripala sakala bhuvana mai phireyo bihala iha sap basa avatanahi tadapi sabhi taraha umanamahi suni sevaka dukha dina dayala Paraki uthi dvai bhuja bisala Sunu sugriva ma rihau balihi Ekahi bana Jaya Shri Rama Brahma Rudra Sara Nagata Gaye Na ubarihi prana Shri Rama Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Shri Rama Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Natha Bali Aru Mai Dvau Bhai. Oh my lord, Bali and I are two brothers. Preeti rahi kachu barani najai. And the love that was between us, it wasn't just a little bit. It was a plenty, a lot of love. It cannot be described. Then, Maya Sutta Maya Vi Tehi Nahu Ava So Prabhu Hamare Gao. Then, one day, this Maya Rakshasa came, who was the son of one Mayavi, who, the story is not there, but who Bali had defeated in the past. So that son of some previous enemy has come now, right? And he came to our town, Kishkinda. O Prabhu, Ardharati Pura Dwara Pukara. He came in the middle of the night and to the door of the city, right? And he called out, Hey Bali! Bali Ripu Bala Sahaina Para. And Bali was the kind of Vanara, the kind of being. He could not bear any challenge from anyone, especially if that is a strong enemy. He can't sit there and say, okay, you call out some challenge. No, he has to go there and fight. He's that kind of being. Some people like that are funny, when you see a big, strong Pelvan come and some little boy says, I can beat you. Now, at that point, that Pelvan is supposed to say, no, I'm not going to fight or pretend to get beaten. But Bali was the kind of, anybody came in front of him, he had to show he could conquer anyone, that kind of being. So what happened? Dhava Bali Dekiso Bhaga. Bali, in the middle of the night, he heard that enemy roar and he took off behind him. Now he's running at him. So that Rakshasa, he also took off. Whoa, here comes Bali, full speed. Mai puni gayau bandhu saga laga. And I went along with my brother. I followed him. Now see, why would he follow him? Seva, selfless. My brother's going, I'll go help him. Giribhara guha paita so jai. Then that Rakshasa went into the cave of a big mountain. Taba Bali kaha ujai. Then Bali turned to me and he said something. He gave very clear instruction. Parikesu mohi eka pakavara. Nahi avao taba janesu mara. Wait here for me for 2 weeks, a fortnight, pakavara, right? If I don't come after then know in your mind that I have died. Very clear instructions. Wait for 2 weeks. Now, you see, that also tells you something about Bali's character. He did not know if he was going to win that fight. He was making, backup plans. And if someone is ready to fight to the death on a moment's notice, just because they have been challenged, that tells you a lot about their character, right? Masa divasa taha raheu karari nisari rudhira dhara taha bhari. So I waited there for 1 month, not 2 weeks. I waited for 1 month. Oh, Karari. Now see, Sugriva knows. Karari means that enemy of Kara, like Karadushana. So story had traveled that when Bhagavan Sri Ram was a teenager and he'd gone with Vishwamitraji to protect that yajna, he killed Karadushana. So Sugriva knows this is Bhagavan Sri Ram. Anyways, he calls him Karari. I waited there for 1 month, and then what happened? Out came a stream of blood. Now, what should somebody think at that time? What should somebody do? Here, Sugriva tells, Bali hatesi mohi marihi ai. Bali has been killed, and I'm next. So that shows you, Sugriva was a little chicken-hearted. He could have thought Bali won. He could have said, I don't know who won. But right away, his mind told him, hey, Bali lost. You're next, you're next. So what he did, Sila dehi taha chaleo parai. I put a big rock there and blocked the mouth of that cave, and I took off, fled the scene. You'll see throughout his life now, Sugriva is going to have a habit of fleeing whenever a challenge comes his way, to deal with something. Now, who is Sugriva? But he was the brother of the king. That makes him what? Not prince, but some royalty. And when some enemy comes to the kingdom and threatens the kingdom, what are you supposed to do? Put up some opposition. And what does Sugriva do? No, can't handle that kind of thing. I'm gone, leaving from here, right? So he has both now, good quality and bad quality. Mantrina pura dekha binu sai din heu mohi raja bariai. When I got back and the ministers saw that I came binusai, without the master, without the king, without Baliji it means, then they gave me the kingdom and they forced it on me. Bariai, it means to say Sugriva didn't want the kingdom. That's another good quality, right? He didn't want the kingdom, but who knows what all these ministers did? They might have tied him down, or they might have given him counsel. Hey, you can't leave all of us now. You're in this position. You've been getting all the treatment like brother of the king, and now when it comes time, you want to run away like you're just some simple citizen? Oh, you stay here. This is your whatever they said to him. Then Bali tahi mari graha ava. Bali did kill that Rakshasa. And then he came home. Came home means what? He would have come to the edge of the cave and see, hey, Sugriva blocked this thing up. Then when he came, Deki mohi jiha bheda bhadava. And he saw me there. He must have seen Sugriva sitting on the throne. Maybe someone feeding him grapes. Peeled grapes. Right? Then what happened? Bheda bhadava. A great division between us emerged in Bali's mind. A grudge, a separation. It's like we were no longer close brothers. And already hearing about the quality of Bali's mind, if a grudge comes, he's not going to be some passive-aggressive family member, The next line tells how Ripusama, seeing me like an enemy, Mohi maresi atibhari. He beat me up, gave me heavy blows. Not only that, he took everything from me. Everything I had, he took. Right? Hari lin hesi sarbasu arunari. And my wife also he took. Took my wife. Now she's my wife now. Sometimes you see a little bit of this Bali in in brothers when they fight, One little brother, two young boys are fighting, and when they really get angry, he tries to take away all the other one toys and everything. But these are not children. This is king. Take bhaya Raghubira Kripala Sakala Bhuvana Mai Pireu Bihala. O Raghubira, O hero of the Raghu dynasty, O Kripala, O compassionate one, ocean of compassion, out of fear of him, I have traveled this whole world. Meaning to say, Bali chased Sugriva across the whole world. And in Valmiki Ramayana, that is what is said. He came to Calgary also looking for refuge. Tried to maybe hide in Lake Louise. But the only place he found refuge was where? Iha, Sapa Basa, Avata Nahi. Here there is a shrap. Where? On Rishyamukh Parvat, which is also in Kishkinda, or near to Kishkinda, right? Tadapi Sabita Rahau Mana Mahi. And even still, there's a shrap means there's a Bali can't come here. If he comes here, that shrap says he will die, right? But even still, Tadapi, I am still taken over with fear, sabhita, in my mind. I stay here, protected, but just frightened. Why are you frightened if Bali can't come? Well, he can send some assassins, He's always looking over his shoulder. That's why he was not sure when Ram and Lakshmana came, who they were. What if Bali had sent them? And this is, the rishis and saints and sages see these things, and they see all this symbolism. They explain that, see, the jiva in this samsara goes everywhere looking for security, travels across different countries. Well, at COVID time, you can't travel. But when we get problems, what we do? We whip out the phone and we travel. Our mind leaves the situation here, right? And runs away. Get home from work, has to do chores? No, man. Pick up the phone and let's travel to Afghanistan. See what is going on in Afghanistan, right? Have to get up early and go to work? No, man. Open the phone. Let's see what's going on in Bharat. What's going on in the politics there? We send the mind everywhere else. Same thing that Sugriva did. But the symbolism is he did not find peace anywhere. He had to come right back to Kishkinda, right back to home. And where he had to come, he had to go and find refuge in the rishis. Rishyamukh Parvat. There he found some protection from the negative forces in the world. The side of the pairs of opposites we don't want to face. But still, he was living in fear. Okay. Now, our Swami Prakashananji told a very nice thing about Sugriva that just hasn't left my mind, He said Sugriva was always in da-da-da-da mode. Da-da-da-da mode means what? Like when you see Flintstones, and they have to go before they take off in their cars. Have you seen? Well, they do and then take off. Sugriva is permanently in that mode, always ready to run away from a difficult situation. So in other words, Sugriva is always feeling fear. Now, this is also very important for us to realize. Why Sugriva represents us? Because the jiva, all the small individual beings in this world, their life and experience in samsara is characterized by fear. You may not have thought about it, but it is. See, we don't want to stand on the scale because I have a fear. I have reality check phobia. I don't want to go to the basement and empty it and give away all the things I don't need because I have vairagya phobia. I don't want to go to the garden because why? I have arachnophobia. I don't want to go to Bharat on Tirat, because I have germ phobia now. I don't want to, even if everything is fine and everything is peaceful and there's no problems, I don't want that situation. Why? Because I have no phobia. Meaning to say, if everything is fine, that worries me. Means something bad will happen. So having nothing wrong frightens me. I have no phobia. Some people have phobia. Means to say, I don't want to watch any scary movie because I'm afraid that I'm going to become more scared. So I have phobia of phobias. Does this characterize human life or not? Now, in this, there is a life lesson we have to draw out, right? And what is that? See one thing. The rishis, Bhagavan Sri Ram, they have as their natural state fearlessness, abhayam. They have nothing, no skin in the game. They have nothing to lose because they are centered in their own oneness, joy with all things, right? So that is the goal. We have to practice fearlessness, right? Now, the life lesson is how to practice fearlessness. We can't be totally fearless. That is not our state. We have to practice it. And how to do that? I heard wonderful things from saints and sages. How to practice it? We should practice being afraid of wrong things and never being afraid of good things. Usually, it's opposite. It's ulta, right? We are unnecessarily afraid of good things and totally afraid, we are unnecessarily afraid of good things and not afraid of bad things. Like mankind is not afraid to eat junk food, correct or not? No, eat junk food and sleep very nice. Man is not afraid to badmouth someone else behind their back. Man is not afraid to hoard, go to the store and buy all the toilet paper. Not afraid and leave the other one without. Man is not afraid to waste time. Man is not afraid to make false relationships for our own benefit, pretend to be someone's friend. Man is not afraid to ignore the words and advice of saints and sages, right? And what is man afraid to do? Man is afraid to rely on the Lord, afraid to surrender, afraid to stand up and face the results of all of my actions, afraid to give up any bad habit, correct or not? Afraid to listen to the words of the saints and sages. So right now, generally, we are unnecessarily afraid of the things that will benefit us. So the practice is what? The practice is, how does it work, Rita, right? We have to ask ourselves whenever fear rises in our heart, exactly what am I afraid of? Suppose on the plate, I'm full and there's still a few different yummy things. I left all the dessert for after and now the dessert is sitting there and I'm full. And that too, more is coming of different varieties. Now, what rises in my heart? I am afraid of missing out on all the joy of all these sweets, right? That's called in modern language FOMO, fear of missing out. But we don't think that, right? It doesn't occur to us that I'm afraid to miss out on a few bites of joy. And what am I not afraid of? At that time, I'm not afraid at all of overeating and, drowning Vaishwanaro in my stomach who's going to do all the work. I'm not afraid of any of that. But really, it should be the other way. So ask ourselves, what is it I'm afraid of? And should I be afraid of this or not? Should I be afraid of overeating? Yes. Should I be afraid of missing out on a little bit of a taste of joy here, a taste of joy there? No. No one has ever died from not eating one extra bite of sweet. People have lived because of that. And no one has ever become dejected and sad and life has been ruined by this. Nothing to be afraid of if I leave that sweet. Even I don't finish the food because I'm full. But I should be afraid of overeating. So you see, the practice is, what is it I'm afraid of? And should I be afraid of it? What are we practicing? Fearlessness. It is a big deal, fearlessness. Among the qualities that Bhagavan Sri Krishna lists there in chapter 13, that prepare one for jnanam, The very first quality, abhayam. Abhayam sattva samshuddhi. And he goes on. First quality is fearlessness. And the practice is what? Only be afraid of those things which are not good for us. Okay, now that was a life lesson, but we'll continue. Now, throughout this, we'll have so many different life lessons. How does Bhagavan Sri Ram respond to hearing this story of Sugriv? Suni sevaka dukha dina dayala paraki uti dvai bhuja pisara. Hearing the sorrow of his sevaka. Dina dayala, that Lord who is so compassionate to those who are helpless. He stood up and both his arms throbbed like he wanted to do something for that sevaka. Now, this is an expression of that first statement that the Lord put his sorrow out of his own mind, right? His demonstration of sorrow for the jiva, and he saw this friend in front of him, and now he wanted to show concern, right? Then what happened? In this also, there's another life lesson. Actually, let us stop here and see this. See how Bhagavan Ram responded when a friend or a sevak is in trouble. He puts his sorrow aside. One way to remove shoka from our mind is to empathize with the sorrow of others. What it does, and I think everybody would have experienced this, it immediately puts our sorrow in check. It makes our sorrow feel insignificant in front of the sorrow of others. So our sorrow goes down and our clarity of mind therefore goes up. But that can be put in stronger words, and actually it should be. It is not just one way to reduce our sorrow. It is a virtue to be able to, in front of another's sorrow, put our sorrow down as though it doesn't exist. It is a virtue. And if we don't have that guna, that good quality, that means we have the other side, the durguna, the vice. What is the vice? In front of another person's sorrow, I can't see anything. I only can think about my sorrow. What is a vice, You might think, oh, it's okay, I have a few vices in my personality. A vice is something, a durguna is something that holds back our evolution. It is something that keeps us in the dark to our own potential. We see this very nice in movies. If anyone has seen Cinderella, right? That stepmom and the three girls, they kept Cinderella in the dark about her own greatness and potential and prosperity and everything, right? When we have a vice, like keeping our sorrow more than others, that is doing that to us. Vice is not our friend. It's a serious thing. So we must develop this quality and rid ourselves of that wicked stepsisters inside. You can put it that way, right? Now, Bhagavan Rama knows this, or he knows this is the sadhana. So he's demonstrating for us how to respond when we hear someone else's sorrow. Sunu Sugriva, he tells in the Doha, Marihu Balihi Ekahiban. Listen, O Sugriva, I will kill Bali with one arrow. Brahma, Rudra, Saranagata Gaye, na ubarihi pran. Even if he goes to Brahmaji or Lord Shiva and surrenders, they will not be able to save his life. Bhagavan is making a vow. He's making a promise. And you only find this type of promise twice in Ramayana. Once earlier on in Aranyakand, he lifts his bow and says, I will remove all Rakshasas from this earth. And this is the second time. This is a very significant moment in Ramayana. This is also a moment when Bhagavan Ram gives a hint that he's not just some Mahapurusha. He is Brahma Ishvara. Who else can say, even Brahmaji and Lord Shiva will not save him? Who else can say that except for Ishvara? So Bhagavan Ram's giving a hint here. I am no ordinary prince, Then Bhagavan adds, I will skip this section because not directly connected, but it's wonderful. You can read it in your own time there. After Doha 6, Bhagavan Ram goes on to tell about what friendship really is. And I'll just tell you in brief what is said there, right? After committing to help, he tells that, now each one of them is wonderful life lessons on friendship. And it is relevant to us from the sense that we must learn to become friends with the Lord. So who is a friend and who is not a friend? Bhagavan Ram tells Sugriv, that one who has a friend, that when they see him having sorrow, he doesn't feel any sorrow for that friend. So that kind of person, Bhagavan Ram says, to even look at that kind of person is a pap. That's how he sees that. He goes on to say, a person, a friend, should find their sorrow, even if it really is a mountain-like sorrow. He should see that as a speck of dust. And the friend's sorrow, even if it is a speck of dust, he should see it like a Mount Sumeru, a huge mountain among mountains. That is what friendship needs. Now, this is the same idea I was telling before about putting other sorrow in front of us. That quality is the defining feature of friendship. And he goes on to say that people who have not developed this bhava of friendship, meaning to say they put their own sorrows, they pay attention to their own sorrows. Doesn't matter what's going on with everyone else, right? Bhagavan Ram says, such fools, why do they even go on pretending they're people's friends in the first place? I mean, they're not fit to be anybody's friend. A friend is one who also takes someone from kupat, the wrong path, and brings them on supat, the right path. And Bhagavan Ram is saying, not I'm only saying so, the Shruti says so. So any time my friend has a problem, I should feel that that problem is 100 times bigger than my own. Then he adds one other point. Any kind of friend who talks nice to their face, but to their back, he says bad things, a person should drop that friend like no problem, like a pancake, like a hot potato, like a dal puri. You just drop that person. Too hot. Feel free to drop that kind of person. So like this, Bhagavan Ram gives so many advice on friendship. It's a wonderful section to take out and do for Bal Vihar, I feel, right? Now, what are we supposed to take from that? Another life lesson. See how many life lessons? If we want the Lord to come and support us, to deal with our Shoka and Moha, just like how Sugriv did, we need to make friendship with the Lord. But the Lord is not in front of us. We don't feel. So how to do it? The answer is, we just have to be friendly with everyone. Because the Lord is all pervasive. It is better to be friendly than to have a friend, Because if you have a friend here, that means to say the other person is not your friend. Or you have a best friend, then everyone else is not. So then you cannot be equally friendly to all beings. And you have again divided the world. So that it is okay to have friends, but it is better to develop the quality of friendliness. And Bhagavan Ram has described what is friendliness. If a person really in their heart has that bhav, I am friend to all, I want to help out, I get a chance, I'm really concerned about your sorrow. I feel for other beings. That person has made friends with the Lord. And what does the Lord not do for his friends? He became Arjuna's charioteer. Some people take offense with this. Wait a minute. That means to say Bhagavan only comes to people who treat him nicely. But I'm only your friend if you're my friend. Bhagavan's like that or what? No. See this other thing, very important. The Lord becomes friend to those who befriend the Lord. That is a true statement. But it doesn't mean that the Lord is not in the lives of everyone else. It is just saying that, Bhagavad Gita explains this nicely. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam stathaiva bhajamyaham. Mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvashaha. Bhagavan says, in whichever way a person invokes me, in that way I reciprocate. So he was also in the life of Bali, just as much as he was in the life of Sugriv. But Sugriv approached the universe with friendliness. So the Lord appeared as his friend. Bali approached the world with enmity. So Bhagavan approached Bali with what? Enmity. So it's not that the Lord is not there in our life. We have totally our choice. And easier to be on Sugriv's side, no? Bali will have to take an arrow. Painful thing. So that is a life lesson. How to be like Sugriv. Sakha. Oh, right here now is where we have left off. And I had so many other points to share with you, but our time has gone. So we will have to see this tomorrow. That poster says that we'll deal with 3 topics. Delving into karma yoga, we did that through samatva. Then how to face fears and life's mistakes. Here Sugriva has been running his whole life from various fears. Bhagavan Ram is coming in his life to teach him how to face our fears, not suffer from Shoka and Moha, and be like Ram. He's going to show him how. He is fear and Bali's mistakes. Bali makes a great mistake. Then at the end there, he wants to be a devotee again. So how we also, it's okay to make mistakes. That will be seen. The third topic there about the poison of pride and the power of humility, that might have to actually wait for another time, another yajna. So we'll just take our time and do this well. I feel that is much better than rushing and seeing just a few points scattered here and there. Okay? That was one announcement. And everyone can mark in their books. We have finished there at Chaupai 4, Doha 6. That's where we'll pick up tomorrow. I also wanted to share with you a little bit about what is going to happen today and tomorrow. There's a wonderful tradition that Gurudev has brought back to our lives, and that is the tradition of Guru Dakshina. Guru Dakshina is an expression of gratitude. It is not a requirement. There's no force. The idea is that yatha shakti, according to your capability and ability, there is an opportunity after receiving all this knowledge from the tradition to give back with a full heart. In one way, that also completes the cycle of giving and taking. You know, it is never nice to just take from this universe. And whatever you give, at the end of the yajna, you'll have a chance to give something. This is Guru Dakshina. Please know that all of the funds will go to the benefit of the mission. So give with a full heart, in the sense that if you see any benefit in this work, if you like the kind of work that is happening and you want to see it continue for others, then please give generously. Then future people will benefit. And through that, you express your gratitude for the teaching and you let others benefit as well. If one gives with an obligation or feels, oh, Guru Dakshina time, you know, why I have to give, why they keep asking. Some people feel like that. Then with that kind of heart, if you give, and then Chinmay Mission Calgary might buy some candies for the children. Our Swami Prakashananda says, that candy you buy, it'll hurt their belly. So give joyously according to your capacity. If you like this work and you want to see it, continue. I'm sure Raviji and Abhimanyuji will explain how you can send money during this COVID time. But the Guru Dakshina will be open for everyone on the last day, or if you're not coming on the last day, you can also give today, right? All the funds will go to the future work of the mission. It is because of the Dakshina of those in the past that we're having this yajna. You see? So it is a wonderful tradition, and it really is what keeps this whole thing going, the full non-profit organization we have. All right. With that, I'll pause now And we have a few minutes if there are any comments or questions. Otherwise, we'll see everyone tomorrow for our last day. Is there anything else, Abhimanyu-ji, Raviji, that has come to mind?